Good morning, everyone. I hope and trust you are well, and welcome to another session on our web development module. Feel much welcomed. We'll be beginning our session for today in a few minutes. Just give me 1 or 2 minutes to set up, and then we shall proceed. Yeah, so welcome once again. Another new week, another topic to tackle in our development journey. And this particular week, we are in week five. We are in week five of the module, and we will be taking a look at JavaScript. JavaScript. That is what we will be looking at this particular week and this particular session. So, what is JavaScript? What is JavaScript? I'm sure some of you, if not all of you, have come across the word JavaScript. What is it? What is it used for? And how can you leverage its capabilities and features to include it in your web projects and web applications? So JavaScript is simply a high-level interpreted scripting language primarily used to create and control dynamic content on your web pages. So that is the main purpose of JavaScript, is that it is a front-end scripting language. And its main purpose is to create and control dynamic website content. So with JavaScript, you will be able to implement complex features on web pages, such as interactive forms, animated graphics, and have some form of real-time content updates. Okay, so far we have been dealing with static content where you have to build the content up first before you can actually see it. But with the introduction of JavaScript, you'll now be able to create dynamic content real time, as soon as you create it or as soon as you initiate it, the content will be displayed on your web pages. So what are some of the characteristics of JavaScript? One, JavaScript is client side. So this one means it runs in the user's browser, So that is why it is front end facing. It is client facing. It mainly interacts with the client from the browser. Two, it is very dynamic in that it can manipulate content without even refreshing your web page. With JavaScript, you're able to manipulate content, change it, display something new, and so on and so forth. So those are some of the characteristics that we are going to see when we will be interacting with a JavaScript. So before we delve into that, I just want us to let me see. Since I would want us to run our JavaScript code right on the terminal, I would want us to install a Node.js. I would want us to install Node.js. So on your browsers, let me just share my entire screen. So on your browsers, simply search for Node.js downloads. On your browsers, search for Node.js downloads. And I want you to download and install the latest version of Node.js. I would want you to download and install the latest version of Node.js. So what this will help us do is it will help us to run JavaScript code away from the browser. So we will be able to run it directly from our terminals. So please give you a few minutes, just download that. Download, make sure you select your correct operating system, whether you're on Windows, on Linux, or on Mac OS. Make sure you select your correct operating system. The easiest way is just to do the installer. That one is the easiest way. No stress. Just a step-by-step installer with very clear instructions on how to install. As soon as you download, you just go through a series of questions. Then you'll be able to install Node.js. So I have a question. As I'll give like 10 minutes. 10 minutes a lot. I'll give 5 minutes for you to download and install that. So in the meantime, I have a question. I'd like an answer on the chat box. Um, what is Node.js? What is Node.js? On the chat box, kindly. What is Node.js? Just let me see your answers. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Okay. Very interesting answers here. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Very good. I've asked you to download the latest, current, and stable version. So please follow instructions. Please follow instructions. Okay. Yeah, so very interesting answers on the chat box. But thank you all for your answers. Contrary to popular belief, Node.js is not a programming language. Node.js is not a framework. Rather, Node.js is a runtime environment. So if you say a runtime environment, you are very correct. So what Node.js enables you to do is simply run JavaScript code away from a browser, away from a browser, or as backend code, because primarily JavaScript was created for utilizing or for not utilizing, not implementing. It was used to enhance their front end. JavaScript code it was created to enhance the front end. That is its main purpose. So it was not meant for backend development. Okay. So with the advent and progression of technology, it became a necessity to have JavaScript code run on the backend or away from the client side. Therefore, Node.js environment was introduced to facilitate that. Okay, so I'm sure you have downloaded and installed Node.js. So we can proceed. We can proceed. Yeah, and that is why you should join the classes as early as possible. So we will just proceed. I've asked you, please download and install Node.js, the latest version. So we can proceed. Can proceed. Yeah, so we've given a definition of JavaScript. We've given some key characteristics in that it is client side, it is dynamic, and so on and so forth. So basically, JavaScript is commonly embedded inside HTML files. That is the most basic usage of JavaScript code. It is embedded on HTML file, or it can also reside on an external file. Just like we have external CSS file, you can also have an external JavaScript file where you import that file into your HTML file so that you can utilize any features and functionalities that you have defined in the JavaScript file. So I'll give a basic syntax of how it looks like when you are utilizing it directly from HTML file. So I'll just create a new file here, index.html. Just set up a basic structure. You have your document declaration type, your root element, your head section, and you have your body section. So I can just have a title here. JavaScript. So when you go through any reading material, you will be advised. JavaScript code usually resides here. This is what you will be advised when you go through, you go through any reading material or any tutorial and so on and so forth. But with my experience, loading JavaScript at the very top usually brings a lot of issues. So proper development practices dictate that for best loading of your web pages, you need to place your JavaScript code at the very end of your body section after each and every element has already been defined. Okay, so this is what proper development practices dictate. You need to place your JavaScript code here at the very, very end. Okay, so your JavaScript code will go here. The JavaScript code will go there at the very end. After you've defined your other elements, your text, your images, your tables, your forms, the various sections and layouts, at the very end is where you are required to place your JavaScript code. This is very strategic in that if there is any issue within your JavaScript code, then at least your website would have already loaded before encountering any issue. Okay, rather than placing it at the very top, and once the browser runs your web page and finds an error, then your page will not be able to load because an error was already flagged at the very top within your JavaScript code. So for best development practices, please place your JavaScript code at the end of your body section. That should be the last bit on your body section. That is after each and every other element that you need to define on your web page, okay? So that is how you would embed JavaScript code on your web page. That is how you would embed JavaScript code on your web page. So your JavaScript code will go there. The syntax will be interacting with the syntax in a little bit. We'll be interacting with the syntax in a little bit, so do not worry. So rather than having a file for now, I would want us to do an external JavaScript file so that we can actually run our code on the terminal rather than going to the browser every now and again. Rather than going to the browser every now and again. But for demonstration purposes, we can simply run a line of code. We can simply run a line of code so that we can see this in action on the browser. You can see this in action on the browser. So our line of code here is console.log, console.log. Console.log. So this is a simply built-in function in JavaScript that is used to simply print messages or values to a console. And primarily this is whether you are doing it through the browser or the terminal, it will print to the browser's terminal, browser's console or the terminal's console, so on and so forth. It is simply used to print messages. This is a very, very useful function when it comes to debugging your applications or your JavaScript functions and features, because with it you can be able to print messages and thereafter be able to troubleshoot what is going wrong with your application or your JavaScript function. So that is its primary function, console.log, to simply print messages. So please type that function on your HTML file, and remember to embed JavaScript code. You need to use the script tag, and it has an opening and a closing tag. You need to use the script tag to embed JavaScript code on your web pages. So let's do that real quick, and then you can load this on a browser. You can load this on a browser. So in our browser, remember we are printing to the console. We're not printing to the browser's display area. So to view the console, once again, we will activate the context menu by right-clicking anywhere on the page and click on Inspect, click on Inspect, click on Inspect. And once you click on Inspect, I want you to maximize the window to your right. And on the menu at the top, you will see a section for console. You will see a section for console. What is our message? Yeah. You'll see a section for console. You will see a section for console, and there you should be able to see your message, hello world. So that is the primary function of the console.log function in JavaScript, to simply print out messages. Simply print out messages. That was a simple demonstration of JavaScript on your web browser. It was a simple demonstration of JavaScript on your web browser. Now we'll shift a bit and go into our terminal. We'll shift a bit and go into our terminal in order to see other features and concepts in JavaScript before we can actually go back to our browser and see how does JavaScript enable us to add interactivity? How does it enable us to modify content? How does it enable us to select content and change it? Or how does it enable us to dynamically create new content or get rid of existing content and so on and so forth? Okay, so we'll close our browser. We'll close our browser and head on back to our Visual Studio Code editor or your preferred editor. So I'd want you to create another file. I'd want you to create another file. Want you to create another file. Give it the name script.js. .js is the extension given to JavaScript files. .js. That one marks a file as a JavaScript file. .js. So create a new file. Give it the name scripts.js. Make sure you save it with the extension .js. Very important. Make sure you save it with the extension .js. Make sure you save it with the extension.js. So we'll just go into getting to know the concepts within JavaScript, the JavaScript scripting language, right from the basics, get to see variables, data types, operators, functions, and so on and so forth. And all these will be interacting with all of these through the terminal. So we'll start with the most basic, and that is variables. Variables. So what are variables? Variables are simply containers that are used to store data. These are simply containers that are used to store data. And these containers are usually named. They are named. They are used to store data, and this data can be referenced and manipulated within a program. What is a program? A program is simply a set of instructions that perform a certain task. That is how we define a program, a set of instructions that perform a certain task. So variables are what we use in JavaScript, not only JavaScript, but also other programming languages. Variables are what we use to store data. They are what we use to store data. And how do we define variables in JavaScript? Now, to declare variables, there are what we refer as keywords that are used to declare variables. Like, take your name. Your name identifies you. And what we are referring to as variables is simply a way of identifying data or information in JavaScript programming language or any other programming language. Variables are simply universal, okay? They are universal. So how do we declare variables in JavaScript? The old school way, the old school way. Yeah, it is old school because this was used a long time ago. We use the var keyword. This is one of the ways you can define and declare a variable. You use the var keyword. This is an old school way, very old school way. And an example, you can simply declare a variable called name and assign it a value. You can simply declare a variable called name and assign it a value. And the value I've assigned it here is instructor AD. Instructor AD. So you begin with the keyword. You begin with the keyword. Let me just do this. Keyword. You begin with the keyword var. Begin with the keyword var. Keyword var, followed by the assignment operator, which is the equal sign, and then the value of your variable. So you begin with the keyword var, followed by the assignment operator, which is the equal sign, and then the value of your variable. And the value here is the data or information that you want to store on this container. Remember, we defined a variable as a container. Let me say a named container that stores data values. Named container that stores data values. So one of the ways we can declare variables is by using the var keyword, And the syntax is you start with the keyword var, followed by an equal sign, which is the assignment operator. You are assigning a value to a variable, okay? And then on the right side is the value that you want to store. So let us simply, we can simply print this to the console. We can print it to the console using the console.log function that we saw earlier. So console.log, and then pass the name as value to the log function. Pass the name as a value to the log function. And what this will do will simply output the value of our variable name. It will simply output the value of our variable name as instructor AD or whatever value that you have specified. So save your file. And after saving your file, I would like you to launch your terminal. To launch your terminal. So if you've launched your terminal, you simply run a JavaScript file by typing the keyword node, followed by the name of the file that you want to run. And in our case, this is script.js. In our case, that is script.js. And after typing that, you simply press enter. And as you see on our terminal, it has printed my name, instructor AD. That is how you can run your JavaScript file. If you have not installed Node, while on the file as your active file, you can press F5. And look at your debuggers, your list of debuggers. If you have any debugger that references Node.js or JavaScript, then you can use that debugger to run your file. But I would have preferred if you simply had installed Node.js and use that to run this JavaScript file that we are using. Remember, if you installed Node.js, you may need to restart your VS Code because it is not obvious that it will pick it up from the get-go. Otherwise, it should just be working out of the box. So that is how you would run a as JavaScript file offline, that is away from the browser, using the Node.js environment. Using the Node.js environment. So we saw step number one of how to declare a variable. Number two is by use of the let keyword. Let keyword. We use the let keyword. We use the let keyword. Let is another keyword. This one is a more modern approach. We say this one is traditional. Traditional way. It is still used, but it is an old school traditional way. But let is a more modern approach. Let is a more modern approach of declaring a variable. So we use the let keyword. We use the let keyword. We use the let keyword to do so. And this one is the most preferred way of doing so. So we can do something like that. Let age be equal to 30. And then we print that to the console. This should output for us a value that should output for us the value 30. It should output for us the value 30 once we run this. And remember, it will output also the name because we also have the name at the very top. So you will have something like that displayed on your terminal. You should have something similar displayed on your terminal. And remember, with these declaration keywords, you can reassign values. You can reassign values. Let me say you change your mind. Let us say you change your mind and say, no, I want my age to be 50. You would simply print again the age. Simply print out again the age using the console.log function, and that should give you a new value for the age. Same applies to the name. Maybe you've changed your mind. I want to be called someone else, or I want to store another value for the age, for the name, sorry. I want to store another value for the name. You can simply reassign the value of the variable. And as you can see from my console, those ones have changed from instructor ID to instructor John, and from age 30 to age 50. So that is how you would reassign the value of a variable in JavaScript. Let us see the final method. Final method is the constant keyword, denoted by CONST, constant keyword. So this one is used to declare variables that cannot be reassigned. It is used to declare variables that cannot be reassigned. Constant variables. Let me just ask a question here real quick. Constant variables. What examples would you give of constant variables? Data that does not change. What value does not change? What value? Pi is a very, very good example. Pi is a very good example. Thank you. What other data value? The date of birth, that is very good. Date of birth. What other one? ID, you need to be very specific. ID. ID number, yes, ID number. Those ones would not change. Yeah, very, very good. Also, but I think someone can change their name, eh? And someone can change their name, eh? A very interesting question here. Very interesting answer here. Gender. That one is up for debate, eh? Eh? That one is up for debate. Eh? Yeah, that one is up for debate. In the world that we live in, that one is up for debate. But anyway, yeah, so any value that cannot be changed, easily changed, or you cannot necessarily reassign its value, then you use the constant keyword. Eh? We use the constant keyword to declare such a value or to store such a value. And the syntax is simply as that. We said pi is a constant value. So pi is a constant value. That one does not change. That one is universal. We know it is 3.14152, blah, 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 up to everywhere. But that is a constant value and it does not change. So you can use the constant keyword to declare such variables or such data information. Simply print to the console. You can simply print to the console. So what happens? What happens when you try to change this? 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 Then you will get an error. You will simply get an error. You are trying to assign a new value to a constant variable. You are trying to assign a new value to a constant variable. So you would get an error when you try to do so. Let me just do it practically so that you can see. Yes, this is the error that we are getting. Assignment to constant variable. So that one is not allowed. That one is not allowed. Once you assign a value to a constant variable, you cannot change that value unless you are reassign it afresh. Unless you reassign it afresh. Like you can reassign it here. You can reassign it here. Then that is the only way. That is the only way you can change the value of, that is the only way you can change the value of a constant variable. But reassigning it like the way we reassigned the age and the name, that one is not allowed. That one is not allowed. So you get that error, assignment to a constant variable. That one is not allowed at all. So that is how you would declare variables within JavaScript using those three keywords. Using those three keywords. You can use the traditional way using var, or you can use modern approaches, that is using the let keyword or the constant keyword. Good, good, good. On to the next, on to the next. On to the next would be data types. Data types. Data types. Data types are just different types of data that can be stored in variables. So far, we have interacted with at least two data types here. Which data types have we interacted with? On the chat box, real quick, real quick. I know you are very intelligent people, eh? Yes, we've interacted with integers, yes, and strings. Very good, very good, very nice. I see you are very intelligent people. Okay, yeah, so those are types of data that we have when it comes to JavaScript. Very intelligent people. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Stop laughing. So far we have interacted with strings. I think we all know what strings are. These are simply a sequence of characters enclosed in quotes, a sequence of characters enclosed in quotes, or simply text. That is what a string is. That we have interacted with that. Number two, We have interacted with numbers. Number. Number is simply a numerical value, a numerical value, such as an integer or a float. And we have interacted with that. We've seen the age. We've seen age as a number. We have seen age as a number. We have also seen a float value in pi. We have also seen a float value in pi. So we can say constant pi. We have also seen a float value in pi. The first one was an integer. Number 3, we have Boolean values. Boolean values represent two types of values, either true or false. They represent either true or false values. This can be equated to, I would call them states. You're either, the state of a value is either true or it is false. So they only represent two values, true or false, true or false values. And you simply use the keyword true or the keyword false. You simply use the keyword true or the keyword false. Next, we have the null. We have the null value. We have the null value. Now, this is where people get confused. We have a null value and we have an empty value. We have null and we also have empty value. This is where people get confused. So with null, this represents a value with no value. If you get what I mean. It's really very, very confusing. A special value that represents no value. Explicitly no value. Explicitly no value. It gets very, very confusing because you will come across null. You will come across null. You will come across null, and then you will come across let me say age is equal to 0. You come across a null value and you also will come across 0, or you will come across let name be equal to this one. So there are these three variations. There are these three variations. So you need to be very, very careful when you are assigning those data types. When you are assigning those data types. Empty value is null. There is also 0. There is also 0. Not empty value. Null is no value. Null is no value. 0 has a value. 0 is a value, by the way. In integers, 0 is a value. And then we have an empty value, such as the empty string that we have given. So be very, very careful in those three variations. Null, no value. 0, 0 value. And empty is it's simply empty. It's simply empty. There's nothing within it. There's nothing within it. It can be an empty string and so on and so forth. So be very, very careful when you are referencing all these three types of data types when it comes to programming, not only JavaScript, across all programming languages. Across all programming languages. Number 5, we have what we refer to as undefined. Undefined. An undefined variable is when you have declared a variable, but you have not assigned any value to it. You've not assigned any value to it. So I can simply declare a variable such as name and not assign any value. That will end up being an undefined data type. will end up being an undefined data type. Of course, we will print all of this. We will print all of this on the console so that we can see how they appear. And also we have non-primitive data types. We have non-primitive data types. These ones were just primitive. We also have what we refer to as non-primitive data types. What's an idea of non-primitive data types? Let me see who's read behind, ahead. Very good. Shadrach, Francis, objects. Very, very nice. Arrays. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. Very, very nice. Very nice. Good. Very good. Very good. Yeah. So these ones are just primitive data types. We have also what we refer to as non-primitive data types. Date. Pointer. Is class really a data type? Is class really a data type? Class is a data type, really, Evelyn. eh? Class is a data type. Not really. Class is not a data type, okay? Yeah, so what we've just defined is primitive data types. So we have what we refer as non-primitive. We have non-primitive. Non-primitive data types. We have non-primitive data types. For non-primitive data types, we have one, an object. An object is simply a collection of key value pairs. An object is a collection of key value pairs. So take, for instance, you want to define several bits of information about something. For example, we are defining a person. We are defining a person. The person here would be our object. The person here would be our object. And then what characteristics do you want to define about this person? You can have the name, you can have the age, you can have their address, you can have anything that simply describes that person. That will go into the information that describes that person. Okay, so for example, the person object that I have displayed there, it simply has the name, it has the age, and it has is instructor Boolean variable, is instructor Boolean variable. So we have something like that. We have something like that. Let us simply print this to the console. We can print this to the console. Let me get rid of every other one, preceding one. Don't want our console to be very, very messy. So I'll simply comment out anything I had before. Oh, age. Cannot redefine. Okay. Cannot redefine an already defined declared variable. Okay, that is an error. So let me clear this and then so that is our object displayed on the printed on the terminal. That is our object printed on the terminal. So with objects, you can store more information rather, unlike normal variables. Normal variables just store something in singular form. But when it comes to an object or an array, as we will come to see, you can store more than one item in that particular variable. You can store more than one item in that particular variable. So let me just give you a challenge real quick, a challenge on the chat box. I want you to create for me an object for a car. Create for me an object for a car very, very quickly. You can have any characteristic within it. Create for me an object for a car. Create for me an object for a car. A complete object with at least 3 characteristics. Create for me an object for a car with 3 characteristics. Thank you, Mbachia. Thank you, Mbachia. That is very, very nice. Thank you, Mbachia. Mbachia gave us the first correct answer. Now the problem is you guys don't follow instructions. You don't follow instructions. So this is Mbachia's object, a car, make, model, year, and color. Very, very nice. Thank you, Mbachia. That is very, very commendable. Very nice, very nice. So we can print this out. Let me print that out and let's see what we have here. Yes. So make is Toyota, model is Corolla, and year is 2020, and the color is red. Color is red. Color is red. So this is how you would access an entire object. How do we access a single characteristic from the object? You first access the object, and then using the dot notation, follow that with the characteristic. And the characteristic here in programming, we refer to that as a property. Okay? So what will this print out? This one will print out for us the exact color of our car, which is red. That will print for us the exact color of the car, which is red. Okay. So anytime you find yourself that you have an object or something that you want to define several properties about that particular item, then you can use the object data type to define such information or data. So same thing applies. Let me get let me do another challenge real quick. Let me see an object for a fruit. With at least 3 characteristics. Any fruit. An object for a fruit. And you guys cannot have all your objects are Toyota Corolla. Where are you copying from? Where are you copying from? Linda, very, very correct. Very, very correct. Linda has the first correct answer. Follow instructions. I asked for an object for a fruit with at least 3 characteristics. You can't just give me the declaration or the declaration of an object. So Linda, thank you so much. This is very, very nice. Thank you so much. Follow instructions. Very, very important. Follow instructions. It's very, very nice. Linda has also included the test. Sweet. Very good. But where you it seems you guys are copying from somewhere. You cannot have all the same properties. Name, color, test. Where are you copying from? But anyway, remember, AI is your friend. We do not discourage the use of AI. AI is your friend. It will help you develop faster. It will help you develop faster. Just a disclaimer, AI might be wrong sometimes. Just a disclaimer, AI might be wrong sometimes. So always go through your work. If you use AI to augment your development, just always be very, very careful and go through your work and make sure everything is correct. Mm. Very nice, very nice. So that is an object. That is an object. That is an object. That is an object. Very nice. Very, very nice. That is good. That is good. Next, let us look at array. Let us look at an array. We can also look at an array. We can also look at an array. So an array is simply a special type of object that is used to store ordered lists of values indexed by numbers starting from zero. An array is an ordered list of values indexed by numbers starting from zero. So let me give, this is an example of my array. This is an example of my array. This is an example of my array. Just comment this out. So console.log colors, console.log colors. Console.log colors will print out for me red, green, and blue. Red, green, and blue. So from the definition, an array is an ordered list of values. These values can be of different data types. Remember that they do not necessarily need to be of the same data type. Okay, they can be of different data types and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is how you would print an entire array. That is how you would print an entire array. To access an element within the array, you can use its index value. Can use its index value. You can use its index value. Remember, we've defined an array as an ordered list of values. An ordered list of values used to store data and indexed by numbers starting from zero. So it is indexed by numbers starting from zero. And these indexes are what we refer to as the position of an item on the array. So when you are numbering these items, or when you want to get the position of these items, you simply start from zero. You simply start from zero. So I want you on, I want you to do what? Let me show you how it is done first, and then I'll give you a challenge. So to To output the first element of an array, we use the index 0. Remember, we said numbering starts from index 0. Numbering starts from index 0. So if you print this out on our console, our first element will be red. Our first element will be red. So let me give you another array. Let me give you another array. Is my cars. I'll give you another array here. So I have that array. I have an array of cars here. I have an array of cars here. On the chat box, please display for me the Posh. Please display for me on the Posh using the print function of JavaScript. Please display for me the Posh. Brian Kibet, very, very good. Brian Kibet, very, very good. Again, follow instructions. What is number 4? What is number 4? What is number 4? Follow instructions. No, number 4 is not the answer. The answer is console.log cars index 4. And Brian is the one who got it first. Very, very nice. That is very, very good, Brian. Congratulations. Thank you. I want you to display for me the Volvo. Volvo using the console.log function. Volvo using the console.log function. Volvo. Yes, console.log cars. The index is 6. If you are saying 7, you're very, very wrong. Please remember we said indices start from number 0. The indices start from number 0. The indices start from number 0. Thank you so much. Yeah, and those are arrays. If you have an ordered list of values, then you can use arrays to store such values. Another primitive type, though we will not go so much into it for now. I think we'll have another session where we primarily deal with functions. If I'm not wrong. But another primitive data type is a function. That is another non-primitive data type. Is the function. So a function is simply a block of code that performs a specific task. And the beauty of this is it can be reused. Okay? So in the event that you find yourself having to do the same bit of task repeatedly, now and again, you're just simply repeating the same lines of code over and over again, here and there on other pages, then you can simply take up that block of code, place it within a function, and be able to reuse it as many times as possible by simply calling or invoking the function name wherever you want to use it, okay? So for example, maybe you have a function that simply does what? A simple function that simply greets someone, does a greeting, a function that simply does a greeting. Rather than you writing the block of code over and over again in several different places, you can simply place that within a function and invoke that function anytime that you want to. do the greeting. So what is the syntax of a function? The syntax of a function looks something like this. You have your function keyword, you have your function keyword. Let's do a multi-line comment. So the syntax looks like this. You begin with the function keyword followed by the function name. Begin with the function keyword followed by the function name. And then you have your brackets or parentheses, opening and closing, brackets or parentheses. And then within your parentheses or within your brackets, you have parameters to the function. Parameters to the function are data items that are needed for the function execution. The function execution, any data items that will be needed for the function execution. Those are what we refer to as parameters to the function. And then you have your curly braces, opening and closing. And within your curly braces, that is where you put in the lines of code that will be executed. So we can do a very, very simple function, a function just to greet someone, a function to greet someone. We can do a function to greet someone. We can do a function to greet someone here. We'll pass the name of the function as a parameter. We'll pass the name of the function as a parameter. Name of the person we want to greet, we'll pass it as a parameter. We'll pass it as a parameter. And when you want to give the output of a function, we use the return keyword or the return statement. Use the return keyword or the return statement. That gives the output of a function. That gives the output of a function. So our function here is greet. We are passing a parameter, which is the name. We are passing a parameter, which is the name. And we are simply returning a greeting. Hello, with a comma, and then we concatenate the name of the person we want to greet. This is called concatenation. Concatenation. Concatenation is simply joining. It's just a fancy word for join. Just a fancy word for join. Concatenation. Join. We are joining the name of the person that we want to greet. Okay? Now, to run our function, we can simply print out using the console.log function, invoke. We call it invoking a function or calling the function. We invoke the function greet. We invoke the function greet, followed by our brackets. And between the brackets, we pass a name. Between the brackets, we pass a name. Remember, we want to greet someone. So between the brackets, we pass a name, and then we've closed our function. We close our function, and our output should be hello and the name that you have specified. So we can save that file, go back to our console, our terminal, sorry. Go back to our terminal. Let me get rid of all this. I want a very clean console. I want a very clean console. Yeah. So there we have it. Our function for greeting someone. Hello, instructor Eddie, or whatever name you have passed as a parameter to your function, as a parameter to your function. Just by a show of thumbs up, how many of us have been able to create a function How many of us have been thumbs up, thumbs up? Again, instructions, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. I say thumbs up, someone else has raise your hand. So instructions, very, very important. Instructions are very important. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Good stuff, good stuff. So let me just give you a challenge. I give you a challenge on the chat box. On the chat box. Let me see who is attentive, who is not on the chat box. On the chat box. Samuel, Kim, and Stanley, you are attentive, And the chat box, Okay, okay. Let me see. Okay. On the chat box, I want you to write for me a function. I want you to write for me a function. I want you to write for me a function. I want you to write for me a function. Okay. I want you to write for me a function that will take two parameters. That will take two parameters. That is the name and the email address, and give the output. Give the output, hello, my name is, and my email address is. Let me see. Write for me a function that will take two parameters, the name and the email, and gives the output, my name is, hello, my name is, and my email address is. I want the complete function. I want the complete function. No one. Mbachia, very nice, very nice. The challenge is closed. If you're still typing, you're too late. If you're still typing, you're too late. Mbachia with the first correct answer. Thank you. Good stuff, good stuff. If you're still typing, you're too late. If you're still typing, you're too late. If you're still typing, you're too late. This is the very first correct answer. Nice job, nice job, nice job. Good stuff, good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. So let us test this out. So console.log. We have our greets. We get rid of this one. And email. Stuff, good stuff. Hello, my name is Eddie. My email address is eddie@mail.com. Very, very good. Very, very nice. Yes. Keyboard warriors. You are that person, Baicha. Very nice, very nice. That is very, very commendable. Yes. So in the event that you find yourself, I am repeating the same lines of code over and over again in several places, in several pages, and so on and so forth, then you can define a function that will make your life much easier and your development much easier. Simply reference that function name, invoke it, pass any needed parameters, and you will be able to have the same functionality repeated over and over again without necessarily repeating your lines of code. Okay? Very, very good. Very good. Very good. So that is our other primitive, non-primitive data type. Of course, there are others such as dates. We have maps, and so on and so forth, that I think I will leave for you to go and read more about and research at your own time. Okay? So we can move on, eh? We can move on. But otherwise, good stuff, good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. So after seeing our data types, I would like us to go through operators. I would like us to go through operators. I would like us to go through operators. Operators are simply symbols that perform operations on variables and their values. These are simply symbols that perform operations on variables and their values. Number one, we have arithmetic operators. This one I'm sure each and every one of us has interacted with. Can you give me examples of arithmetic operators? Arithmetic operators on the chat box. Yes, we have addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. Very, very nice. Those ones are arithmetic operators. Those are arithmetic operators. Very good, very good. Yes, we also have modulus. Hey, Mohammed, very nice. I'm sure not many have heard of that. Modulus. Maybe Mohammed, you can explain to us what is the modulus operator and what is its function? What is its function? The modulus operator. Linda says gives the remainder. Very nice. Evelyn, Linda, Daniel. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yes. So those are examples of arithmetic operators. These ones are simply used to perform mathematical operations. So all those symbols that you are aware of that are used to perform mathematical operations, those are what we are referring to as arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators. So yeah, so maybe print for me on the console. Print for me on the console. Another challenge, Another challenge is loading. Keyboard warriors, get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Keyboard warriors, are you ready? No one is saying me. No one is saying me this time. Good stuff, good stuff. So keyboard warriors, get ready. So my challenge on the arithmetic operators. So let A is equals to 50 and let B is equals to 20. So I have these two numbers. A 50 and B 20. Keyboard warriors, very quickly, print for me on the console the modulus of A and B on the console. Hey, Martin Kieti, very nice. Martin Kieti. Hey, Dennis has decided to give me everything. Oh, my Lord. Dennis has decided, let me just give you everything. Let me give you everything. Now, Dennis, you're already finishing every challenge I want to ask. But anyway, Martin, thank you so much. That one was very fast. Console modulus A and B. Console modulus A and B. Console modulus A and B. That was very good. Dennis has decided, let me give you everything. Now, how am I supposed to ask a question? Dennis, how am I supposed to ask a question now? This is not fair. This is not fair at all. You're not following instructions. You're not following instructions. But otherwise, thank you so much. That is very, very commendable. That is very, very commendable. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. But anyway, Dennis has given us everything. If you want to see the other arithmetic operators in action, then just look at Dennis's answer on the chat box. This is Dennis. Dennis who Amu. I can see your second name. Dennis Amutsa. Yeah. He has given us no need to apologize, Dennis. It's fine. It's fine. Otherwise, let us follow instructions. Okay, but that is good. That is good. That is good. You made it easier. No, no, no. I want everyone to be challenged. I want everyone to be challenged. Nothing comes easy in this world. Nothing comes easy. So I want everyone to be challenged, everyone to feel part of the challenge. Okay, good stuff, good stuff. So those are arithmetic operators. Anytime you want to perform mathematical operations while using JavaScript, then those are the symbols that you would use. Those are the symbols that you would use. Number two, the number two operators that we will be looking at. I think I should have started with the most, I think we should have started with assignment. Should have started with assignment operators, but well and good. Assignment operators, just as the word suggests, they are used to assign values to a variable. I think we've already given an example. We have already given an example. We have already given an example of an assignment operator. That one is the equal sign. That is the equal sign. That is the equal sign. That one is used to assign a value to a variable. We also have other variations of this. We have something like, yeah, that one, the one that was given. We have something like this, plus and equals. That is an addition assignment. That is an addition assignment. You have a subtraction assignment as well. You have a subtraction assignment as well. Subtraction assignment. You have a multiplication assignment as well. You have a multiplication assignment as well. You have X, multiplication, division, and so on and so forth. So those ones are assignment operators. Those ones are assignment operators. Those are assignment operators. Okay. So I have my two numbers there, X and Y. I have my two numbers there, X and Y. X is 10 and Y is 5. Another challenge loading. Another challenge loading. Dennis, follow instructions. Follow instructions. Anyway, another challenge loading. Another challenge loading. I have my two numbers, 10 and 5. X is 10, Y is 5. Print for me on the console. Print for me on the console. Print for me on the console. Print for me on the console the multiplication assignment. Multiplication assignment. What will be the new value of X? What will be the new value of X? What will be the new value of X? What answer are you getting? Okay. Okay, the print statement is fine, but what answer are you getting? How are you getting 75? How is someone getting 75? I'm really wondering. I'm really curious. How are you getting 75? The answer should be 50. The answer should be 50. I'm really curious. How is someone getting 75? Don't look at my don't look at my nini. Don't look at my screen. Don't look at my screen. Oh, this one is the one that is confusing you. X plus equals Y. Okay, okay, I've seen how you've gotten 75. Okay. I've seen. But don't look at my screen. The instructions are X is 10 and Y is 5. Give me the multiplication assignment of X. Don't look at my screen. Don't look at my screen. Sorry about that. I've seen where you've gotten the 75. Still a valid answer. But again, follow instructions. I began by saying X is 10, Y is 5. Y is 5. And then my question was, give me the multiplication assignment of X. Good. But I have seen where someone got 75, which is still valid if this one was open. If this one was open, then the new value of X would have been 15. The new value of X would have been 15, and the multiplication assignment of X would have been 75. Yeah, that one is good. Good stuff, eh? Good stuff. Good stuff. Can we move on? Let us move on. We really have a lot to cover. That was the assignment operators. The next set of operators are comparison operators. Comparison operators. And just as the name suggests, these are used to compare two values and return a Boolean result. They are used to compare two values and return a Boolean result, whether the comparison is true or false. Whether the comparison is true or false. Whether the comparison is true or false. That is the purpose of comparison operators. So with comparison operators, we have several comparison operators. We have equals. That one is used to check whether two values are equal. We have the triple equal. This one checks not only the value, but also the data type. This one checks not only the value, but also the data type. Equal. Those are three equal signs. Okay. We have another one, not equal to. We have the strict not equal to that has two equal signs. We have greater than, we have less than, we have greater than or equal to, we have less than or equal to. We have less than or equal to. So I'm sure all of us have done mathematics, or arithmetic. I don't know what it is called in different countries, but math is universal. So challenge loading. Yeah. So this one I will ask for all of them because I'm sure Dennis is ready to type all of them. So I will ask for all of them. I will ask for all of them. So let me give you, I have two numbers. And two numbers. I have two variables. I have two variables. Let me do two variables. I know where I'll catch you people. I have two variables. D is equals to 100 and E Give me equal to, equal, strict equal, not equal to. Give me the final values of all these comparison operators for these two variables. Give me the final comparison operators. Yeah. Where are my keyboard warriors? Dennis, where are you? Eh? Where are my keyboard warriors? Mbaicha, Dennis, Linda, I'm not seeing you guys. Eh? Where are you? Where are you? This one is tough, eh? This one is tough, eh? I want to see your final outputs for this. Eh? Someone is crying. Okay. So this is what this is what you should have. This is what you should have. Hey, why are you crying? This is what you should have. Eh? This is what you should have. Eh? You're comparing two values. You're comparing two values. So you should have something like this. Let me get rid of any other print statement before this. So that's, yeah. Oh, the chat is locked. Okay, 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 okay. Sorry about that. Eh? Okay, okay, okay. I see AI at work. 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 But still, I've said AI, the use of AI is very, very much welcome. AI is used to augment your work. Eh? Uh, it's not replacing anyone anytime soon. Eh? So I think the first correct answer is from Linda. Yeah, I think this one is correct. Very, very good. Yeah, so this is what you're supposed to have. Eh? This is what you're supposed to have. This is what you were supposed to have. I haven't saved my file. Yeah, so should be false. Should be false for equal, equal. Should be false for triple equal, that is strict equal. Should be true for not equal to. Should be true for not equal to strict. Should be false for greater than. Should be false for greater than. And then it is true for less than. I want someone to give me an explanation. Why is this true? Why is D less than E? How comes? How comes? How comes? How comes D is less than E? I want someone to give me an explanation for that one. How is D less than E? How is D less than E? Okay, so okay. 100 is less than 200, but remember, B is an integer, E is a string. Why is it that the, JavaScript is making that comparison in this case? Why is it JavaScript is making that comparison? Hmm? Why? Anyone know the reason why? Anyone know the reason why? Very, very good. Edmond. Edmond. First correct answer from Edmond Ombaso. JavaScript will change the string to a number. JavaScript will change the string into a number. JavaScript automatically converts the string to a number. That is from Richard and Edmond. And also Alice. That is also very, very correct. Yeah, so what happens is JavaScript will automatically change this to a string, to a number, sorry, to a number. sorry. It will automatically change that to a number when making the comparison. It will change that to a number when making the comparison. What's in a process, is it a process or a concept called type conversion? Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, very nice. That was very, very good. Thanks to Richard, Alice, and Edmond. Very nice, very nice. Ooh. Moving on. Those are comparison. Next we have logical operators. Next we have logical operators. Logical operators are used to combine multiple expressions, not necessarily Boolean, but they are used to combine multiple expressions. Logical operators. They are used to combine multiple expressions. So for example, I want to combine, which one gave me true? Which one gave me true, less than, and less than and equal to? Okay, I want to combine those two expressions. Then I would have something like so. Console.log. It was D is less than E and D is less than or equal to E. D is less than E and D is less than or equal to E. Can do the same for OR, and we can do the same for not is used for negating. Okay, so let's do these ones first. Okay. Okay, so logical operators used to combine multiple expressions. They are used to combine multiple expressions. So when you are combining expressions and you use the logical and is denoted by the two ampersands. Two ampersand. Ampersand is this sign. Should be shift and number 7. Shift and number 7. That will give you the ampersand or the and. I know you all know it as the and character, but it is called ampersand. This one is known as the ampersand symbol. So that two of them represents the logical and operator. So when you're using the logical and operator and you're comparing, not comparing, you're joining, you are combining two expressions and you're using the logical and. Both of these expressions need to be true so that this can output true. Both of them need to be true so that this can output true. Okay? So outputs true if both expressions are true. This is opposite to the logical OR, which is represented by the pipe symbol. The pipe symbol is simply the straight horizontal symbol That one is the key above your enter key on your keyboard. The key above your enter key on your keyboard, that is the pipe symbol. We refer to that as the pipe symbol. So two of them represent the logical OR. And when you're using the logical OR, either of these two expressions that you have combined, either of them should at least return true. Should at least return true. Should at least return true. Either or. Either or. Either of them should at least return true. And for the logical not, this one is used for negating or inverting the Boolean value. So for example, if I say this is not, if I say this one is not, because it is true, it will output false. It simply inverts or negates the output of an expression. So this one will be true. Of course, this one will be true because all of them result to true, and will also be true because all of them result to true. Okay, so those are the logical operators. Those are the logical operators. So I want to give you another challenge. 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 Keyboard warriors, are you ready? Are you ready? Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Keyboard warriors, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Another challenge loading. Another challenge loading. For the logical operator, get ready, get ready, get ready. Somebody is already typed under. Oh. Okay. So the challenge is, so I have these two variables. I have these two variables. I have these two variables. Variables, my age, 25. I have those two variables. 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 Now, I want you to use the comparison and logical operators. I want you to use comparison and logical operators. I want you to use comparison and logical operators. One, this is your nini. One, if the age is less than 25, if age is less than 25 and is learner, If age is less than 25 and is learner, oh, I'm giving you the answer. Hey, what is wrong with my NB? If age is less than 25 and is learner, I'm giving you the answer. I hope you did not see. If age is less than 25 and is learner, I don't know why uh, I should stop this autocomplete. Anyway, just give me the solution for that one. If age is less than 25 and is learner, eh, what would be the what would be the output? 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 Aye, how can it be true? Not said less than or equal to. I've said less than. The output is false. How can it be true? It cannot be true. If age is less than 25 and is learner, using comparison and logical operators, yeah, the output is false. The output is false. The output is false. But my terminal window already gave you the answer. This is very, very unfair. I'll be typing things on the chat box. The output should be false, eh? The output should be false. The output should be false, eh? The output should be false. The output should be false, eh? Yes, output is false since age is not less than 25. Thank you, Kelvin. Yes, that is the correct solution. That is the correct solution, eh? You guys have gotten it. I really wanted to challenge you, but seems you're very, very attentive and so knowledgeable. Yeah? Very, very attentive and so knowledgeable. Yeah. A round of applause to you guys. That is very, very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Good stuff. Good stuff. But anyway, those that does it for our operators. That does it for our operators. Um yeah, time is gone, but I think we can cover a few more things, eh? Yes. Can we cover a few more things? Can we cover a few more things before we end the session? No. Why is Sile saying no? Yeah, let us just 30 more minutes. 30 more minutes. 30 more minutes. Monday blues. Yeah, Monday blues should be over with what we are going through. Monday blues should be over. Eh, anyway, yeah. Okay, 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 okay. I think let me just do a very quick poll to see whether we can continue or not. Majority will win, eh? Majority will win. Majority will win. Let me just do a very quick poll. Quick poll, quick poll. It should load on your should load on your screen shortly. This web week 5. Okay. The poll has launched the poll. Please let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. I'll give you 5 minutes. Majority will win. Majority will win. Uh, Majority will win. Mm. Free and fair. Free and fair elections. Free and fair elections, eh? Free and fair elections. Free and fair elections. Free and fair elections. Yeah, anyway, JavaScript is quite huge. I really hoped we could cover more. I really hoped we could cover more with the time that we had, but it's all good. It's all good. If majority of us are tired and due to the time constraints, we can push this to another time. Yeah, so my poll stands at 58% no and 42% yes. So we'll end the poll there. Yeah, end the poll there. Yeah, 58% no, 42% saying yes. Yeah, that is all good. It is okay. It is okay. I know you're tired. I know you have other things to attend to. That one is fine. But I hope you got to learn something. That was simply an introduction to JavaScript. And we've only just gone through the basics. We've only gone through the basics. We have only gone through the basics of JavaScript. There is still more to cover. I wanted us to cover loops and iterations and also touch a bit on the document object model, but we'll do so next week. But otherwise, thank you so much for your time. That has been amazing. That has been amazing. I hope you got to learn something, eh? I hope you got to learn something. So remember, we have additional resources on the LMS, videos and links to websites and reading material that can help enhance your knowledge on JavaScript. We've also provide, we always provide AI prompts that you can use with various AI engines to enhance your learning. So please make sure to utilize them. Make sure to utilize them. And I will always remind you guys, despite the challenges that we are having on LMS, please make sure to attend to your assignments and quizzes. Very, very important, very important. I wouldn't want you to lose out on getting a certificate or getting certified or gaining some knowledge and information just because you did not attend to those items on the LMS. So yeah, we leave it at that. Thank you so much for your time. In the next couple of days, we'll be introducing something with my colleagues, just a weekly challenge to you, just to enhance your learning and your participation in this program. We'll be doing weekly challenges just to see where are you, how do we gauge your level of expertise. We'll be challenging you on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, giving you different layouts, giving you an image and expecting you to design it using HTML, CSS, and so on and so forth. Yeah, just to engage you and enhance your learning experience. Okay, so that be on the lookout. If you're not on the group, please get in touch. We'll send you the link. For the group. If you are not there, let me just share it on the chat box. Share it with your colleagues, share it with your friends. in PLP, anyone who's not on the group, because mostly the challenges will be posted there and we will be giving a solution at the end of the week. Eh? We post the challenge at the beginning of the week and give a solution at the end of the week just to enhance your learning experience. Eh? So let me just share this. Let me get the link. Where is this? Where is this? Where is this? Just a minute. Do not leave yet. Let me just share the link to the group and then you'll be free to leave. Try to see the link. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, so that's the link to the group. That is the link to the group. Please share it among your peers who are in PLP. Please share it among your peers who are in PLP. Yeah. Otherwise, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. As always, it has been a pleasure. I really hope you got to learn something. Yeah, we will end the session there for today. If you can join us for the afternoon session starting at 2 p.m. East African time, or the evening session that will start at 6:30 p.m. East African time. The group is full. Can't join. Okay, I'll have a look at that. If it is mentioning it is full, we'll have a look at that. Okay. Thank you, guys. We can end the session there. Thank you so much.